This cosplay makes my inner child real happy. If you're new here, hi! I'm Celicia, aka Silly, and my handle probably makes a lot more sense now. I'm a full-time cosplayer, prop maker, content creator, and lover of all things feminine and whimsy. If you're returning, hey bestie! Thank you so much for being here, especially the OGs, you know who you are. If you're curious about my content or the products that I'm using, please check the description below. This is the first of many videos in my new Makeup Mania series, so if you're looking for makeup inspo or costume ideas, you definitely want to stick around. To start off, I'm using Mystery Green contacts from the Third Eye. The cases from Lumai, I just really love them because they're clear. After I have those in, I move on to my lashes. I like to do my lashes before the rest of my makeup. I just like to get the messy part out of the way. I'm using these Sheepy lenses from Shein. For this look, I want to make my eyes appear a lot more open and rounded than usual. So I specifically lifted the falsies higher than my actual lash line just to create that illusion. So now I'm taking the NYX Epic ink liner and using that to fill in the empty space between them. Once that's done, I move on to my brows. This is another product that I've been using for years and years, the Anastasia Brow Dip. I'm using that to fill in my brows and create a really nice rounded shape just to mimic Kin's really soft feature. After I fill it in, I use a concealer just to clean up the line and to give them a really crisp look. This concealer is the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. I use this one, or I also like to use the Tarte Shape Tape a lot. Once I clean it up, I go in with the NYX Control Freak Clear Brow Gel just to help set them in place. And then we move on to the eyeshadow. For this, I'm going to use the NYX Modern Dreamer palette. I just really like all the colors in it, especially with all the cosplay looks that I do. And we're going to be using these ones right here, the kind of like dark mauve looks. I'm also using the NYX Ultimate palette. This one is my go-to, like my day-to-day makeup and everything else. Before I do my eye makeup, I always go in with my concealer first just to really brighten up my eye area. And I'm using the NYX Mineral Set It Don't Fret setting powder just to set everything and let that kind of bake while I work on my eyes. And then I just start layering. I start with my bright color on the crease and a little bit above and blend that out so it looks really smooth. And then I take a darker color and slowly start to fill in the crease. Then I'm going to take a highlight color and create a cut crease look. For this, I always wet the brush so that way it creates a really opaque look. After I create the cut crease, I go ahead and take the darker shade and emphasis the crease of my eye and just kind of bring it in a little bit. Then I take this e.l.f. powder concealer and use that to brighten up the corners of my eyes and extend it up to my brow. I take some more time to really blend everything out to create a really smooth look. And then I start filling in my crease with a black, making the darkest lines in the very crease and then blending it outwards into a pretty wing. And again, with this look, I'm really trying to create a really pretty rounded eye and rounded features. I go in and clean up my liner and just make sure the wing really pops. And then I'm using my favorite mascara. It's the IT Cosmetics Superhero. It just creates a really bold, pretty lash. I love this. I'm using it to blend my real lashes into the falsies. And then I'm going to take this NYX Jumbo Pen and just use this to line the waterline of my eyes. This is going to give the effect that my eyes are bigger than they really are and just make a really nice pop look to them. Now that my eyes are done, I'm going to go in with my concealer and just fill in everywhere where I may have dark spots or hyperpigmentation, which for me is usually underneath the eye. And then I bring it along my smile line and down underneath my chin because I get hyperpigmentation there. I'm also using my concealer on my bottom lip just to create the infamous Kim Possible lip look. And then after I do that, I go in with this Milk Hydro setting spray just to seal it so it doesn't blend on into anything else. Now I'm going to move on to my foundation, and this is my go-to, the Clinique Beyond Perfecting one. And right now I'm using shade Custard, which is, I think it's the lightest shade that they have. I try not to apply it over where I put my concealer just because I am in my 30s, and so I find that the less you layer, it doesn't emphasize your fine lines as much. Now I'm going to move on to contouring, and I've been really loving this Kiko Milano contour stick. I take a brush and use that to apply it, and I always like to put a little bit of contour underneath my bottom lip. I feel like it makes your lip appear more full and pouty, which I really like. I apply it by my cheekbones and in my temple and then blend it out like crazy. Once it's fully blended, I go in with a highlighter, emphasize my nose and the inner corners of my eyes, and then again, blend, 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 blend. Once I'm happy with that, I move on to blush. This one is the Steve Laurent. I've had this forever, to be honest with you. I don't even remember when I bought this. It might have come from an Ipsy bag, honestly. But this has a really nice warm tone to it, almost kind of like a fall vibe. I'm applying it just to the center of my cheekbone and then blending out and inwards just to make sure it's not too harsh of a line. And I like to put a little bit on the bridge of my nose. I can't explain to you why I like it so much, I just do. Then I'm moving on to my highlighter. This is actually another Ipsy find. It is the Space Case highlighter. I like to put that on the top of my cheekbone, overlaying my blush, just to give a really nice shimmer. I also add it to the top of my lip and the inner corners of my eyes. And then I take my finger for a more pigmented amount and put it on the bridge of my nose as well as the tip of my nose. Now we move on to the lips. For this, I'm using the ColourPop So Juicy lip liner, and I have to say, I really love these lip liners. They're plumping, so they have almost like a minty, tingly effect to them, and they stay on so well. After I fill in my lips, I always like to go in with concealer and just clean up the edges around. I feel like it always just gives it a really nice, sharp, crisp look. Now that my full face is done, I set it and I put on my wig cap. The mesh ones are my favorite, and I always put my bobby pins in an X so they don't slide out. And now we install the wig. Once I get it in place, I clean off any makeup that might be where the lace is going to be sitting. So I put a little bit underneath where the lace would sit. I applied the lace, patted it in, and then I use a blow dryer on a cold setting just to dry it a little faster. I make sure the wig feels nice and secure, and I give it a quick brush with my wet comb, and now we're ready to film some content. And here's the final look. I hope you like it, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want more costume and makeup inspiration. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye!